video is part of a series of tutorials covering all aspects of guitar, slide guitar, and lap steel, including technique, tone, and much, much more. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Well, hey everyone. In this tutorial, we will take a look at the art of looping. And this will be part one of a two-part series, with the first part being a very, very basic introduction to looping, to keep it simple. For this lesson, we're going to use a Ditto Jam looper. This is an intermediate mid-level looper with basic functions. It does have some restrictions to it, but it's quite a simple looper to use. And basically, for the beginner looper, it's a very, very forthright, quality sounding looper to achieve basic looping skills. So get tuned here. We're going to have a good time this afternoon. The biggest thing with looping, and especially for the lesson we're going to do today, is timing. Everything is based around proper timing. Now, this doesn't mean you can't do ethereal loops that are out of time, but for the sake of looping, either for practicing at home with yourself, with different guitar techniques, or in a live setting, everything is based on timing. One of the common misconceptions with looping, and this is one of the biggest things I hear as I tour around, some people just can't get the timing together. The loop is always just a bit out of whack, and that comes down to actual timing. It's something that you have to practice, and the looper is actually a very good tool to practice that on. But think of it this way: when you're looping, you have to build your house on solid ground. If the loop itself is just out by a millisecond here or there, you're married to that, and you're going to have to build your house on shaky ground. And that never works out. So for the first of all, before we get into the actual timing, we'll go through the functions of the looper. This is a simple looper, as you'll see in the second camera here. It's just basically got a loop function and a stop function. So I'll give you a quick lesson on how that works. I'm just going to set up a small little loop in G. Now, one of the key things in while the loop is working is that you're going to want to make sure your output level, your loop level, is set satisfactorily to the style of the music that you're playing. It's very key. You'll also notice the timing on this one. For this particular looper, there's a stop feature, which just stops it automatically. If you want to start the loop up again, you just press loop. Okay? Now, some of the single pedal loopers has the same feature, only you have to double kick the switch to either turn it on or off or overdub. We'll get into that in greater detail down the road. We'll just keep it simple with this looper today. And of course, now to get rid of the loop, we'll have the erase function, and most of these looper hierarchies are built on this and have a 2-second erase or undo feature. You see the green light went out, that loop is completely erased. Okay, as we said previously, timing is key for looping to work to your advantage. And one of the major things is when you're counting, we're going to work on this lesson on a 4 count. So I mean a 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first exercise we're going to do, provided you have a pickup in your guitar, as we're going to count to 4, just slapping the palm to the strings, and we're going to set the loop up to that. Now, watch my feet. This is where it becomes key. I'll set this up once for you quickly. So the timing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now you'll notice we've got a pattern set up there. Now the key thing with that is when you're counting, you don't end on the 4, and I'll show you what I mean. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you'll see that the loop is just a bit out of whack because we didn't let the 4 finish, and that's a common misconception from timing. You need to count to 4 and finish the 4 within that timing. So one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you'll notice that time I came in on the 1. That gives you a full 4 count loop and should be fairly solid for you to play over. Okay, you've had a chance to practice timing with your hand. Now we're going to add the guitar into this. So we'll pick a simple G pattern, a G chord, and we're just going to do a thumb pattern back and forth. So basically, okay, just a standard, simple, and then we'll try to set that down in a loop for timing. So, watch my foot. Now you'll notice I let the 4 counts follow all the way through. Now we have a solid loop in G. So a very, very simple exercise just with the G. Thumb, basically the pattern will be thumb on the 3rd fret, 1st string, and then your thumb will go to the open D string. Okay, so we'll set this loop up one more time. And again, watch my feet and watch how I engage the loop. So, and it's always good too to maybe play the loop once through, play the pattern once through that you want to use, and then set the loop. That way you're comfortable, your timing's flowing, you have a natural setup. If you try to rush the loop too quick, you may find yourself a little out of time with the loop. So one more time. The loop is solid. Okay, so very, very simple beginnings to this. And again, the idea with this whole first part of the lesson is the timing. So practice that. Practice your counting to 4. I'll set up another pattern with a rhythm guitar in the next part of this, and we'll do a 2-chord positioning pattern to really give you an idea of how well the loop can work for you. Okay, so for this part here, we're just going to have a simple 2-chord rhythm pattern. We'll alternate between the G and the C chord. So essentially this. Okay, so a very, very simple pattern, and we'll base it on a count of 4 just to keep it super simple. And I'll set up a loop, and then I'll play over top of that loop. It'll give you an idea how important the timing is to set this. So again, I'll play it a little bit first, and then I'll set the loop up so that my timing flows easily and it's not rushed or pinched starting the loop, right? we'll listen to that loop as it plays. Now you'll see there's just a little hesitation, a skip there. And that's what you want to avoid. Here it comes. Right? Now I did that intentionally so that you can see when you're building the loop how important it is. If you continue to build loops and overdubs on top of that, you're on shaky ground. That house could collapse at any time. So let's set it up again. Listen to that loop. There. Okay, so you have the foundation built. You can start playing over top of that. Now we're going to go to the overdub feature in the next section here. All right, so we still have the loop that we just built in the last part of the lesson here. Now you'll notice that the looping pedal is flashing green right now, and that means that there is a loop stored in that pedal. So we're going to start the loop up again. The loop is still there. Now, like most loopers, and including this one, if you hit the loop pedal again, you would be in overdub mode. And overdub mode means that now you can play over top of the loop, but it is recording everything that you're playing on top of the loop. So I'm going to set this up and show you. So. So now if I want to undo that loop, I would just hit the loop button again for 2 seconds. Now that original overdub is gone. If I want to bring it back, I'll press it again for 2 seconds. Okay? Now, you can do unlimited overdubs while you're using this, but one of the key things is you have to think strategically how you want to present the song. Sometimes you can get so many loops on there that nobody can hear or understand what's actually happening. So that's an artistic thing. It depends on what you're trying to present, or even if you're just rehearsing. But every time that you stop the overdub, the next time that you press that button, that will be a third overdub. So I'll set it up again. See, so now I've got 2 overdubs on the bass loop there. And maybe I don't like that one. I'll get rid of it. But now you cannot undo the first overdub that we did. That's inherent in the system of these single loopers. It can either be considered a restriction, or it could be considered something very cool, provided you're thinking about how you want to present that actual loop. So on the other side of this, you could just have the loop on and play over top of that without recording the loop. As you can see, there's limitless possibilities with a looper, either in a live situation or in just a practice at home situation. It can be a wonderful tool. It can be the bane of your existence, depending on how you want to use it. But think of it this way. It's like any artist. He has a paintbrush and a canvas. The looper is the canvas, and you are the paintbrush. And there's so many possibilities as we go here with looping. For the final part of this lesson, what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to set up a pattern. And this is also good for looping if you just want to be a percussive looper. And of course, we'll get into much greater detail in the second part of this series when I bring out the big looper. This is the fun looper, and then I'll bring out the really fun looper. Anyways, some people like to use their guitars or whatever instrument they're playing as a percussion instrument. For instance, right? So it's good to work on timing that way. It will help you with your rhythm guitar skills if you practice the drumming part. But what I'll do is I'll set up a little percussive loop here. See, so the principle's still the same. Now I'll set up a second overdub. Right, timing's pretty good, you know, maybe just a little bit out, but pretty good. But now you've set up a pattern that you can play with. Now, I did that purposely because I forgot to turn off the overdub. So I'm going to have to kill the whole thing. Now I'll go back and reset the overdub loop. Right, so now the loop is set. Now I can play over top of that without recording. So it's very key. Don't forget to turn off your recording loop while you're doing this. It's a second overdub. Now I'll move to the rhythm guitar part, and now we're back to where we were. And back in. Now, I did fail to mention earlier on, and I'll mention it now. When you're doing the overdub, the timing is not as important. It's important while you're playing, but you do not have to hit the overdub at the time that you want to begin overdubbing. If you've been in a recording studio before, it's basically called arming the track, a punch-in, if you will. So I'll show you, and it all comes down to following the red light. So we'll turn the loop back on again. Okay, there's our loop. Now that loop is recording, although I'm not playing. Right, so I've set up that loop, but I can put that overdub in anywhere I want. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. But just remember, the longer you have the red light going, the more regenerations of the loop, and it will pick up outside noise on a microphone if you're tapped in, or even anything coming through your guitar. If you're in a loud club and these pickups pick up a lot of noise, just remember that's continually recording, so you do want to use it judiciously. Just turn it on when you need it, turn it off when you don't need it. Well, I hope I've been able to help you with this beginner looping tutorial. In the second part of this series, we'll get into some heavyweight looping, including submixing into a looper with multiple instrumentation. guitar pedals, all sorts of things that you can use a looper for. I use my looper for live on the road touring. I also use it at home to work up new riffs, to practice songs. But generally, mine is more of a live looping situation. The principles are the same. The hierarchy is slightly different, and it's a little more complicated on how we set up. But stay tuned. The second part of that series will be coming out shortly. So please subscribe. Have a good time.